Hey guys, so I wanted to make this video. If you guys haven't watched my 21-week pregnancy update, go ahead and go watch it because it's awesome. um, but I have had a couple of crazy weeks this past couple weeks. And I wanted to sit down and talk about it because, I want to vent kind of, but not really vent. Sorry about this light. I thought it was better. It's not. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so, it started on the day that we found out the sex of this baby. And so that was the 18th of August. We got up really early because I set up for really early just in case Tommy couldn't get a whole day or a half day off of work. You know, he could just come in a couple hours late. Well, he ended up just taking the whole day off. So we had to get up early anyways. And Lily wakes up normally around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And so we woke her up at 7, I think. Like right around 7. So she was not a happy camper. Right after the ultrasound, I had a doctor's appointment. She's supposed to be napping and I can hear her back there. But I had a doctor's appointment right after, and so we went and everything, and Lily just was not happy because she woke up early and it was almost time for a nap, but it probably would have been, okay to put her down for a nap since she woke up so early. But we were out and about and couldn't. So she threw a fit a little bit at the doctor's office, and then we went to go have lunch with my parents. And she was super fussy, and she ended up crawling up on my mom and falling asleep, which she never does. And my mom was like, oh, she has a little bit of a fever. Is she teething? And I was like, that's safe to say that she could be teething because, she had a runny nose. She had a little bit of a fever. She was irritable. That's a lot of signs of, teething. So I gave her a little bit of ibuprofen, and she slept all the way home. Well, we didn't make it all the way home. She slept until I dropped Tommy off at home because my aunt had called me to ask me to go pick up her oldest son. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen a couple pictures that I posted of this week of her playing with my cousins. But he had got kicked out of daycare for acting up, and the daycare people are just tired of dealing with him because they're understaffed and they have too many kids, and somebody really needs to start controlling that place a little better. But so me and Lily went and got him while Tommy was going to mow the yard. And so I got all the way down to the daycare and everything, and I picked him up, and Lily was asleep, so I kind of just left her in the car while it was running and the air was going and everything. So I got him in a seat, and then Lily woke up and she was all happy to see him because she is so excited when she gets to see other kids. And so we got all the way back home, and when we got back home it was pretty freaking hot, like outside, and so she was a little bit warm. I was like, well, we have been riding in a hot car kind of, so I will just let her cool down in the air conditioning in our house, and give her some water and her bottle or whatever, and let her take her nap. Well, the rest of it. Well, she didn't want to take the rest of her nap. She wanted to be up and playing with Jaden. And so we ended up going back outside and playing with bubbles and stuff. And she came up to me and just laid her head on me, which she doesn't normally do. And I felt her head and she was just burning up. And so I was like, alright, we gotta go back inside. And so then of course Jaden threw a fit because he wanted to play with bubbles, and I was like, no, we're gonna go watch cartoons and just relax. And then by that time Tommy had got back home from dropping the lawnmower back off at his grandpa's. And so she was still really hot, and I was like, alright, well, let me take her temperature, because I had only been going by how hot I could feel her. I didn't know exactly what her temperature was, because she just hates getting her temperature taken. And so I took her temperature, and it was 102, and I was like, okay. It's like, well, we'll run a cool bath for her, and, give her some more Tylenol, and we'll see how, her fever goes down. Well, we went ahead and called her doctor's office, and it was supposed to be closed because it was after 4:30, but the after hours people called, or we had called, said that they were still open to call them. So I was like, okay. And so we called the doctor's office and asked to talk to her nurse practitioner, and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll patch you through. Well, halfway through patching us through, their office closed. So they just forgot about us completely. And it just kept ringing and kept ringing and kept ringing. It didn't even go to voicemail. And so I was like, well, crap. And so I was like, call the after hours clinic back and, tell them what's going on, and, have, my normal doctor call back. And so we did that, and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll relay the message, and blah, blah, blah. And you could tell she was already kind of peed off at us because we had already called once. Of course, people get mad about having to do their own freaking job. But so we got her in the bath and gave her some more Tylenol and everything, and she just wanted to lay on me and drink her bottle, and I could rock her to sleep, and that never happens anymore. She stopped doing that since she was 6 months old. She wants to be laying down to go to sleep. So I got some cuddles, so that was nice, but I wanted her to be feeling good and healthy. And so then she started kind of, getting up and playing around like her normal self, and by that time Jaden had went home, and she was up playing and everything, and then she just stopped in her tracks and started throwing a fit again. I was like, what the heck? And I was like, well, it is 8 o'clock. She's probably tired. We did get up super early. So we went ahead and laid her down, and she fell right to sleep. And so I was like, okay, well, and I only felt good about putting her to sleep because her temperature had dropped a ton. And at this time, we still didn't get a call back from anybody. So then an hour later goes by, and she just starts screaming at the top of her lungs. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I picked her up and everything. I had Tommy run a cool bath because I'm sure she was burning up again. And I took her temperature before we put her in the bath, and it was 103. And I was like, okay. I was like, it's gone back up. I'm tired of waiting on anybody to call me. I was like, obviously they don't care. So I was like, we had to take her to the emergency room. So we took her to the emergency room and everything, and they did not do a good job at all. If I never have to go to that emergency room again, I will never go to it again, because they were ridiculous. My doctor said it is not standard procedure to do a rectal temperature anymore because it makes them more angry than what need be, and they can do the under the arm one just as well, or in the mouth, or even the ear temperature works. And they did a rectal temperature, which just freaked her out from the start. Then they tried to put the sticky thing on her foot to try and get her blood pressure and her heart rate or something, and Lily just wasn't having it. She threw a fit. We had to hold her down, and I just hated it. And they're like, oh, well, we'll give her some more Tylenol. And I was like, well, okay, I guess it is time for another dose. And so they went to do that, and she she wouldn't take it. Even after we left, she had not taken it. She just was not having it. And so they looked in her ears and they're like, oh, well, it's a little red. Did you even look? I'm like, no, I was freaking out that she had 103 temperature. You know, sorry, I didn't think about it. And they're like, oh, well, it could be an ear infection. And then they looked in her throat and they're like, oh, well, that's a little red. She might have strep. And I was like, okay. And I didn't really even... I haven't ever had strep, so I didn't know that they actually had to test to see if they have strep. I just thought they knew what they were doing. So they prescribed us amoxicillin, which she's had before, and just sent us home at 11. And so I was like, alright, well, you know, at least we kind of know what it is. They didn't say for sure what it was. They just said, oh, she might have strep throat, or oh, she might have an ear infection. So we went by Walgreens and got her the amoxicillin and everything, and gave her that and a dose of Tylenol before she went to bed. And she kept getting so upset anytime we'd give her medicine. She would puke. And she actually puked once at the emergency room just because she was so upset. They kept trying to, you know, touch her and, you know, do whatever she didn't want them to do. And so she puked once on Tommy. And they're like, oh, well, she's not keeping anything down, and shoved a Zofran down her throat. And I was like, are you kidding me? She puked once. It wasn't even a symptom that I put on her paper. But, so then she's like, well, you need to call her doctor 2 days from now, let the amoxicillin, you know, kind of keep in, and, you know, do a follow-up checkup. So I was like, alright. So the next day, I got up with her and everything, and I kept trying to give her medicine and everything, and before the end of the night, I noticed she had bumps on her butt. And it wasn't like diaper rash, it was like it looked like chicken pox to me. Like when I had chicken pox, that's what it looked like, except they were only on her butt. And so I took a picture of it and I sent it to my mom because she's the RN, and I was like, what is that? I was like, is she allergic to the amoxicillin just all of a sudden? And of course she couldn't give me an answer because she didn't know too much about that, and she hadn't seen Lily in a while. And so I called up to the doctors and I went ahead and made her appointment for the next day. And they're like, well, why do you need it? And I was like, because we took her to the emergency room. We took her to the emergency room the other day, and they went ahead and prescribed amoxicillin, and they don't even know if she needed it. I was like, and I think she could be allergic to the amoxicillin because she's just all of a sudden broke out in all these bumps. And so they're like, alright, well, we'll see you at 11:20. So, like, alright. So then the next morning I got up, and they were on the backs of her legs. And I was like, crap, it's spreading. And you could tell it was just, it would piss her off so bad. And I just felt so bad for her. And she still didn't want to do anything but lay around and, you know, drink a bottle and fall asleep. And so I took her in and everything, and I told her about everything that happened in the emergency room. And my nurse practitioner was not very happy with the emergency room visit, of how it went at all. She said everything they did was very uncalled for, and she wished they hadn't done that she would have actually got a message to give us a call back, and she could have told us, you know, what to look for and what it could be, and to just bring her in the next day. And so I was like, well, they said that she could have strep, and she's like, well, did they test her? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, how do they test? I've never had strep. And they're like, oh, well, they take a cotton swab and swab the back of her throat. And I was like, no, they didn't do that. And she's like, well, they should have. And she looked in her ears, and she's like, well, it's not an ear infection. Her ears look perfectly fine. I was like, okay, well, that's good. And she looked at her throat, and she's like, yeah, she has hand, foot, and mouth. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, well, how did she get this? And she's like, well, she doesn't go to daycare, right? And I was like, no. And she's like, I hate to say this, she's like, but she can get this anywhere. She's like, you guys go to the grocery store, she can get it there. Thomas's co-workers can have kids that have it and they bring it in, and Thomas could be exposed to it and give it to Lily. She's like, or it could have even been in the doctor's office that she got it. She's like, I hate to say that, but it happens. She's like, so it's not where she got it. She's like, but it's viral, so just make sure her temperature doesn't get high, and put some cream on her to try and relieve the bumps, that it should be gone within 7 to 10 days. It is gone now, by the way. She said, I was more prone to get it than Tommy because I'm pregnant and my immune system is down. Fortunately, I did not get it, thank goodness. Tommy had a stomach bug while Lily was contagious, so his immune system was very down, and he ended up getting it. So that sucks because he has these big bumps on his feet and he has to wear steel-toed boots, and it just hurts for him to walk, and I just feel so bad for him. But so he's getting over that, and I have had at least one of my cousins most of the week. Like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I had Jaden, and Thursday I had Liam and Macy and Jaden. And yesterday they weren't sick, they wanted to come to my house because it's more fun than daycare. And so they went ahead and came over and everything. And it's been nuts. I'm so tired. Like, I love having them come over. I don't mind it at all. And it's helping her out. But just everything that has happened this week, I am ready for a me weekend. I know I won't get it, but I just want to relax and not have to take care of, anybody but me and Lily. And hopefully Tommy's not sick anymore and he can handle himself. Because I am tired of taking care of sick people. I know that sounds horrible, but it has just been nuts. Handling 4 kids most of the week, that was just crazy. I did it though, and the house was clean, so I mean, yeah, get a pat on the back for that. But yeah, I think that is about all I gotta say because this video is running a little long, and hopefully YouTube doesn't make me do it in 2 parts because I don't want to. So if I have to, then this video is not going up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and go watch my 21 week update, and I will see you guys for 22 week update. And go ask me questions below on any video. I don't care. I want to do an ask video here shortly, so go ask me whatever. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Bye.